Hi there, and thank you for joining us today for the fourth webinar in our series, Life Science Cloud, Achieving the Connected Enterprise to Drive Productivity. Today we'll be presenting some innovative solutions to help you integrate your supplier community to your quality system in the cloud. My name is Kim Hutchings, and I'm VP of Alliances with USDM, and I'm very pleased to have one of our key strategic partners, 123 Compliance, with us today. I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce our presenters. First is Brian Coddington, who is the VP of our cloud practice. He has been working in the cloud space for nearly 10 years as a senior executive with in-depth knowledge of sales, marketing, services, and support processes and best practices, helping companies maximize their investment in cloud-based applications. Second with us, we have Florent Yamari, who is the CEO of 123 Compliance. Florent has been working with life science organizations for over 14 years, and with 123 Compliance, he and his company have really changed the industry by developing quality solutions on the Salesforce platform, including complaint management, quality management, learning management, and document management. And you're going to see a really great solution that they've put together today. Little background on USDM. We work exclusively in the life science and healthcare industries as global leaders in providing IT, quality, and regulatory solutions to this space. And for the past few years, we've been helping companies move from on-premise solutions to cloud-based technologies like 123 Compliance, with an emphasis on ensuring that FDA and other global regulations, including 21 CFR Part 11, can be met with cloud systems. Today you'll be hearing specifically about our cloud practice, but I do want to highlight our specialized teams in all of those areas where you may be looking to implement new systems, whether it be a clinical system, lab, ERP, quality, document management. And we have subject matter experts on important regulations including UDI, serialization, and DSCSA. About 123 Compliance. Like USDM, they're also focused exclusively in the life science space. They are currently the leading life science partner to Salesforce.com, working with several top 10 pharma and medical device companies, replacing legacy on-premise quality management systems in these organizations, providing tremendous cost savings and improving user experience. Webinar logistics. We're going to try to keep it to 30 minutes today. If you have any questions as we're going through the presentation, please feel free to enter them in the chat area over on the left-hand corner of the screen. The recording will be available if you'd like to share it with any of your team members who couldn't attend today on our website, usdm.com. And of course, feel free to reach out to us with any questions afterwards. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Florent, and he will go through the agenda.
Hi, everybody. I'm Florent Yamari with 123 Compliance. And this is the fourth webinar in the series that we've had about basically connecting the quality and regulatory teams and compliance teams with the rest of the organization and how that will work, especially using cloud technology. And so we'll do a quick recap of what we mean by the connected quality system and then where we see the industry going right now. And then also a quick overview of just some supplier-related processes. I think that the theme that you are going to notice in this webinar is that you can bring your suppliers into your processes and into your workflow, essentially seamlessly, integrate them seamlessly into the workflow. And I think we'll focus on just a few of them on the CAPA, investigations and audits, and give some examples. And then a brief overview on the technical considerations. So what does it take to bring these suppliers into your workflow? And then we'll show you a very quick demo. We're going to keep it short. And then after that, another theme of our webinar series is what does it take to move to the cloud, and then we'll take some questions. I'll pass it on to Brian now to talk about validation in the cloud.
Yeah, thanks, Florent. So, as a life sciences company looking to move to the cloud, how are we doing that in a validated manner? We've, as USDM, we use best practice validation methodologies so that your company can qualify, validate, and maintain cloud platforms, in accordance with GXP. So that is something we've been doing for 15 years, not all that time in cloud, but those best practices absolutely translate into a cloud environment, along with what we've done around our validation accelerator packs in maintaining that compliance with every new release. And so it's the power of the cloud, and it's being able to validate that cloud environment with every new release that is truly opening the door, to the huge power of the cloud for GXP. Okay, and I'm going to hand it back to Florent to start talking about connected business and quality systems.
Yes, thank you, Brian. So, the theme of this webinar is basically the connectivity that the business itself has, and how that is reflected on the new cloud-based technology that's coming out, or that has come out in the last few years. That means that, for example, for the focus of this webinar, is that your suppliers and are actually integrated into your business process. And for example, a SCAR, a supplier CAPA, that's part of your business process, and there is a natural integration of the supplier into your business process. Now, having the tools in place to actually facilitate that makes a big difference. I think that's where the technology has moved ahead to bring this technology to make this a lot easier for the business. And I think the theme of this graphic you'll see that just like the vendors are or suppliers are sort of integrated naturally into your business process, so are your customers. For example, in a complaint setting, if you have complaints from your patients or providers, let's say, that's just an extension of customer service. These customers call to your call center, or send an email, or fill out a web form, and then for a variety of reasons, but some of those reasons are complaint, and then get escalated to your complaint department that takes over from there. So from a business side, there is natural integration of these business processes is a tool set that I think that is available now that makes this a lot easier. So with that said, I mean this is how we see the path forward, and we actually see that quite a bit, changing quite a bit right now, where you see all these. From a quality perspective, you'll see all the processes and all the stakeholders, being the patient, the provider, the manufacturer itself, regulators, and suppliers, all being much better connected, having a much better tool to connect to each other, both cloud-based and mobile. And that's definitely the direction of the industry right now. So with that said, I think, as I mentioned before, we're going to focus on these three main processes and how you actually can integrate them into your business process a lot easier. So we're talking about cloud technologies that actually live on the internet. Live in the cloud. They are a lot more accessible. It's a lot more easier to bring the outside people in and integrate them better into your business process. So what that means is that for example, a technology like cellphones.com has things like communities that, with just a few clicks, you can enable a supplier community to basically collaborate with you and extend the workflow to them in a secure manner, validated manner, and controlled manner. And so the next 3 slides after this will be talking about how a particular use case, a CAPA use case, would work, audit, investigation, and then we'll give you a quick demo as well. So for an example of a SCAR, an example of a SCAR would be that you'd have a complaint investigation. And the complaint, a customer calls into your call center, and they, have an issue that turns out to be a complaint, and then that gets escalated, and an investigation is being done to find out the root cause. And during the investigation process, you find out that there is a trend on a specific material from a vendor that has been failing at a higher rate in the past 12 months. So what that means is that you have now you have a basis to create a CAPA for this vendor, because you've noticed this trend and you want the investigation, find out the investigation and make sure a fix is in place. So what that means is that from your complaint investigation records in a system, in your own system, you'd click a button, and I will demonstrate this, where you just literally click a button, and an email goes out to the vendor that says, hey, a SCAR has been created, this is the description of it, and here's the link where you can just go in, log in, and then view what is being requested, what the issue is, and then follow the process, follow the workflow to complete it. So that means that for your process, you'll have due dates, and these due dates are enforced. The investigation due date is going to be at this specific date, and actions are going to need to be done at these specific dates. And these due dates have all the escalations that go out, and if they are not done on time. And then also the workflow itself will guide the vendor as to the next steps that need to be taken. So the vendor obviously will have the opportunity to enter their information, attach files, provide all complete information, and that SCAR will be approved by the company to make sure that investigation is okay, the actions taken are okay, and then we can consider this CAPA clause or this supplier CAPA clause. And another use case for this would be supplier audits. Supplier audits are, this is a very sort of straightforward use case, meaning, there is a schedule where a specific supplier needs to be audited, and then the audit will be launched in your quality management system. And the moment it's created, the audit plan is put in place, and that gets communicated, online to the vendor or to the supplier that, hey, they need to look at this audit plan and provide this requirement. You might ask for specific documents. You might ask for certain information to be entered, and all of this can be done as part of your workflow in your supplier portal, without having without having to do an integration to a supplier portal, without having to do any special thing. You are, whenever your audit team is ready to send the request for information, they just press a button and it's done. And that's what we see. This productivity improvement that you get by using these cloud technologies, we think it's pretty large. And then, the audit happens, and all these observations are entered in your audit system. They are communicated to the vendor. This is all happened in the same system that's got, this secure, where the vendor has access to just specific information that's relevant to him or her, and then they are asked for specific information, and they provide them just that specific information is asked of them. And then CAPAs are generated, and then the CAPAs, we talked about it a little bit earlier, the CAPA process works the same, and then eventually observations are closed, and then you close the audit. But, there is, the big thing to think about is that, this is, from a business process point of view, this is a integrated system. The business processes talk to each other. They are linked to each other, and having the tool that actually does that for them and facilitates them in an easier way is a big deal. And we notice that the industry is going that way. And then the last use case that I was going to talk about would be the investigation, the complaint investigations. Think of, an example would be, either a medical device or a pharma company, but let's stick with a medical device company. They have a big device that's got components that are made by different manufacturers, different suppliers, and, you get a complaint, can't figure out the root cause, but you assign, for example, some of the root, one of the root cause investigations to one of the suppliers. And if you think about this, complaints have a timeline on which they need to be closed on. You have got, let's say, 30 days to close a complaint, or maybe 60 days to close a complaint. That means that there is a timeline that the vendor has to follow to actually complete this investigation, and then provide the information back to the company. So that means that the due dates need to be enforced. The information sent and received to the supplier needs to be readily accessible and easily communicated to them. And then sort of the back and forth communication needs to be easy. You can do email, but you can use a system, one system that both the supplier and the company have access to, and it's a secure system. And so basically, you ask for an investigation. Due date is assigned, is automatically set, and an email goes out to the vendor. They click the link and open the record and then view it. And then investigation is performed and approved by the company. And then the complaint is closed on time, and that's a big deal. So we talked about the use cases. So if you think about, so how does this get all put together using cloud technology nowadays? Cloud technologies are, I will focus on the Salesforce platform. We are very knowledgeable of the Salesforce platform. So we're able to speak with authority on it. But basically, setting up and maintaining these supplier communities is very fast. You can allow these suppliers to have access. They obviously have access only to their own records that are related to them, so only to their cars. They have access to only certain fields inside of a CAPA or an audit or so on. They have access. You can give them access to reporting so that they can, over time, let's say they perform investigations, 100 investigations in the course of a year, and they can run reports around it and view data for their data, for their information. And then also they have, they are part of your workflow. So you assign them, the 3 steps that are relevant to their workflow, and they have access only to those 3 steps. And then, with e-signature, fully paperless, they do the signatures in their own system, and so on. And then also the portal or the community is branded, with a company branding, and allows for sort of an extended experience of your quality system. So your quality system is going to look a certain way, and then there's a portal And you can set up of how you want that portal to look for the vendor and what type of information they want to see. Another thing that you can do is that you can set hierarchies for the users on the supplier side. So because you have to you can assign certain records to certain people at the vendor, but you might want to assign your audit observations to a higher level, for example. And these are all things that are pretty easily accomplished on a cloud technology like Salesforce, for example. And in the end, you need to remember that this is one system. It's one system. It's your quality system. You are extending it securely and safely to your suppliers to log in. And then another thing that you can do, you can allow self-registration with user approval. So, for example, each a vendor that comes on board, you say, well, go register at our portal, and then they register, and then you can approve them. Yeah, this is a real user that they need to be allowed to be part of this, so that even the administration of this system, you can sort of gain major efficiencies on the administration side as well. So with that said, we'll do a quick demo now. So this will be very short, just a few minutes to give you an idea of how you would be able to create a SCAR and how the supplier would get that, be notified of that SCAR and open and view the information and then fill it out and so on. Remember, this is a demo. The amount of information that you see there might or might not be relevant to your exact use case, but you'll get the idea as to how this works. So I will be sharing my desktop. Okay, so you are seeing right now a complaint investigation, and in this complaint investigation, I'm going to refresh it because I haven't been touching it while talking about this. But you see this complaint investigation this is the workflow where you can either complete this investigation or create a SCAR. But during this investigation, you've noticed that there is a trend of these power buttons in this device failing, and then you have at this point you decide, the power buttons are created by are made by supplier so and so. In this case, it's going to be the Ireland manufacturing facility, and the contact is Bill Billington. And at this stage, you just decide that you're going to create a SCAR, and the SCARs are shown as CAPAs here on this record because the SCAR is just another type of CAPA. And the moment you say create SCAR, then the system will automatically generate a CAPA record or a SCAR record for this vendor. So the SCAR has been created, it's in progress. And the vendor has been notified, an email sent out to them, and then where they need to log in and view this information. So I will open my email client here to check to see the email as to how it looks, and you'll see here that here's an email that went out, dear so-and-so, SCAR has been created. Do the description of the problem. Just click on this link to view it, and then the vendor would be prompted to log in if they are not logged in. In this case, I'm logged in, and see this is a portal, and the portal is called Partners in Quality, and the user is Bill Billington that is logged in. And you'll see I have the logo of our company here, but you can put any logo, and even the look and feel of this can be vastly changed. And here's the record, the explanation of the problem. There's some credit request info, if any credit request has been done by the company, and then investigation results, action plan implementation, and verification of effectiveness. This is information that is driven over time by the workflow. One thing you will see here is that there's this chatter feed right now where I can directly from the system I can ask the company for information. So I can say at Plorent, take one. I got this car, but it would be helpful if I had more info. And then I can just share, and then an email will go automatically to me in the system, in my email, and then I can reply to that email and say, oh, here's more additional information, and that will be captured automatically into the system. So you'll see I have gotten an email here that says, I got this car, but it would be helpful if I had more info, and I can just reply to it and say, here is the additional info, and then press send, and then this that information will go automatically into the CAPA or into the SCAR. See, here's the additional info that I could have attached files and so on, and then this all communication back and forth with the vendor can happen. It's a lot easier, a lot faster. And then, the vendor will be able to complete SCAR, enter the electronic signature, and so on. And then you would approve the SCAR on the other side, as the company approve the SCAR, and then follow the process after that. I can attach files right here or add notes as well, or I can send emails from the system on top of it, and these are all recorded in the record. And this is, this is true sort of integration of your vendor into your quality system, into the workflow that company into the workflow the company has in place. So with that said, I think I am going to end now the demo. I think that gives just a little taste of how a supplier community and how the back and forth between the company and supplier would work. And then I will pass on to Brian for what it takes to move to the cloud.
Yeah, thanks, Florent. Really cool demo. And I'm just going to spend a minute here talking about, moving to the cloud. I want to give you, for those who are on the line that haven't been to our other webinars, and I'm going to look to give you some ammo as to why it makes sense to do this type of application, just about any application on the cloud. Certainly configuration. Florent alluded to the ease of configuration, faster configuration, which results in shorter implementation time. We're not talking about implementing this type of system in months or a year down the road. We can do a lot of this functionality very quickly and very efficiently to give you the type of functionality that you saw today. Lower cost and maintenance, certainly, as you look to build out your system initially, as well as doing ongoing maintenance and changes. Your vendor process will change over time, and making those changes in a cloud system is much easier than doing it in a legacy premises system. When it comes to data, the clouds, just the way they're architected, it's easier to move data in and out of a cloud platform, certainly for integration-wise with existing connectors and APIs. That is a simpler process. And then data security and disaster recovery. The platform is being manned and maintained by a team of security experts 24/7 who have to adhere to all the security regulations and and your IQ, your infrastructure qualification, that has been taken care of, and we can provide documentation so that you remain compliant when it comes to the infrastructure that your applications are built on. All right. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Kim, who will let us know if there are any questions.
Great, thanks Brian and Parent. So we do have a couple of questions. The first one being, what is the biggest implementation concern when implementing a supplier portal?
Got it. Okay, I'll take that. So biggest implementation concern that I've seen when implementing a supplier portal is around security. You're like Florence said, this is all one system, but you're now extending that system out to groups outside of your company. So the great thing about the Salesforce platform is that it's so configurable around security and so granular. Okay, that's great. But it also means there's a lot of ways, a lot of knobs and levers that you have to make sure are turned on or off to really get that security exactly as you want it. So you're going to want to make all data private if it isn't already. When we talk about objects like CAPAs, scars, investigations, the object level security on those needs to be private. You need to build the system so it can be vendor specific. You don't want one vendor's data being seen by another. We'll make sure that doesn't happen. You're going to be looking at record ownership to put in a lot of these controls. You've got vendor roles that need to be configured. We've got profiles, so you're going to want to lock down your profiles, which are going to be based on a community license. So that needs to be looked at. There is a hierarchy that your vendors can have. So on the vendor side, you can have a manager that has other quality people underneath him or her, and the people lower on the hierarchy can only see their scars that they're working on, where a manager would be able to see everybody's scars. So we would look at that. And then, of course, part of the implementation is then testing all those pieces of visibility. So really being able to log in as different vendors, make sure they're seeing exactly what they should be seeing and not anything else. So, yeah, security, not the system security or the platform security, but the configuration security is probably the biggest concern that we deal with.
Thank you, Brian. Another question. How do escalations work with vendor timelines? Who do the records get escalated to? All right, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that, Ken. Thanks. That's a good question. I think Brian was mentioning hierarchy on the vendor side, and then obviously there is hierarchy on the company side. And I think it's part of the process. We do see sort of the first level of escalation going to a higher level on the supplier side, and then eventually being escalated internally to the company. We do see that, but we also see that the escalations just come to the company directly. So you've got, let's say the due date is approaching or the due date is passed, and then you escalate it internally in the company, and then the internal process take over from there as to what needs to be done.
Thank you. Another question. Do you see portals or communities extended to customers as well? Are you doing that yet?
Yeah, that's a good one. Actually we do, and I think the self-service thing is taking a lot more, especially on the complaint side. Complaint and investigations and so on. I think there's a push to sort of allow customers to actually directly connect with the company, log in a case or complaint and see what's happening in the investigation. This has to do a lot of times with there is interest on the company because there is typically refunds done on, for example, defective material during investigation and so on. So that's why giving that self-service instead of the customer calling you all the time, hey, what's happened to this, what's happened to this, or asking the salesperson what happened to this, complaint that I had, is it done, am I going to get a refund or not? I think this is all handled sort of as part of the complaint and claim process. Self-service, we see definitely a push in that. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We do have a couple of additional questions that are fairly lengthy and may require some additional further conversations than we want to do on the webinar today. So if there are folks in the audience that didn't get their questions addressed, we will follow up with you separately after the call. I think that might be best in the essence of time. Wanted to make sure that I mention again that the webinar will be available on our website. Feel free, if you have additional questions that have come up after the presentation, certainly reach out to us via many of our Facebook. We can reach out on LinkedIn, Twitter, certainly our phone number, and check out their website for the other webinars if you didn't have a chance to see the first three. We really appreciate you joining us today, and thank you so much.